And welcome. It's Tuesday morning here at East Texas Baptist University, and you know what that means. It's time for another edition of the ETBU Sportsnet Coaches Show. I'm Kenneth the K-Rock Klein, but we already know that by now. In the meantime, though, we are pleased to be joined by the head baseball coach here at ETBU, Jared Hood. Coming off a big series victory against Centenary, got off to a little bit of a rough start, but you were able to bounce back in the two games, winning by scores of 12-2 and 7-0. So, Coach, I mean, tough loss in the first game, but then the second game, y'all were able to bounce back, and then you were able to continue that momentum into game three. What changed basically?
Well, I just think our guys just finally kind of settled in a little bit. We got off to a hot start even in game one, scored 2 runs in the top of the first, and then Centenary was able to bounce back and put up a 6 spot on us, and just kind of dug ourselves into a hole, but we continued to play hard that game and then came out with a pretty good mindset game 2 and carried that into game 3 and was able to come out on top.
Certainly, Coach. And, obviously the offense was, kicking in high gear. I'm checking the stats. You got 3 guys that are batting like .444. I know, and obviously with Seth McKeska, Casey Combs, and I think it was Landon Barnes who was also batting .444 as well. But the offense, they were able to put together the runs needed. They scored 1 in the first, but then they came back with 19 runs in the next 2 games. Just kind of talk about the offensive approach that, was needed for the win.
Well, I think the key to our offensive approach is our depth in the lineup. We've got, right there in the middle, we've got some guys that can do some things, and it kind of forces the opposing teams to kind of pick who they're going to pitch to pretty carefully, because we've got some guys that can really hit in that lineup. And, so with our guys, they were able to get good pitches to hit with runners on base. Jeremy Bateman did a really good job at the top, along with Casey, of getting on base. And when you get on base and you put pressure on the pitching staffs of the other teams, and it makes it a little bit easier to hit. So they did a great job handling some pitches that they could get get good barrel on, and we made some things happen. So.
Certainly, Coach. And the other thing that was very impressive, of course, was your pitching staff, specifically in Game 3 where Centenary, they left 13 guys on base. There were a couple of innings where they had the bases loaded, their runners in scoring position, and you were able to get out of those tight jams from the bullpen even after they caught themselves in that jam in the first place. I mean, the pitching staff is obviously seems to be a key thing for ETBU, and you seem to have a great pitching staff as well, considering that this has only been one series, and there's going to be times down the road where they might get into bigger struggles, but they're always going to bounce back. So the way that pitching staff handled this situation, that had to be something that you were very pleased with.
Yeah, so our key for this weekend was to try to get everybody involved as we could, as many arms as we could. Because it's it was a cold weekend to play. Number one, number two, it was early in the season. So arms are still getting into the groove, and getting in shape. But yeah, I mean they went out and they competed. We had a lot of young guys that saw some action and getting their feet wet for the first time in the college atmosphere. So we tried to take advantage of those opportunities to get guys out there, to get them some experience. But yes, pounding the zone, making big time pitches, and we had some big time plays that helped them out as well. So it was a great job by those guys all the way around. Our pitching staff is going to be one of the key factors to our season this year. And again, it comes back to our depth and just the amount of arms that we have, quality arms that we have, that we can feel confident to send out on the mound at any given time.
Certainly, Coach. And, you're on the road again this week, but you're taking a plane ride over to California, and I believe this is the first time in 3 years that you went out there. Last time, if I recall, you took 2 out of 3 from Chapman, including a 15-12 slugfest as well. So for some of these guys, never been on a plane ride before, and obviously playing out in California, just kind of talk about the opportunity to play out of state, especially against a university that is regionally ranked, or as Chapman.
Yeah, so I mean they're a quality opponent in Chapman, and I think for us to have the opportunity to not only get to go to California, but then to have them come back to us next year, I mean, it's critical to getting our guys exposure to big boy baseball. I mean, because it's going to be big boy baseball when we go out there. Those guys can really hit. They've got some guys that can throw. But again, I mean, it all comes down to how we execute and how we play. We've got a little bit of a young team, inexperienced team, but along with that inexperience are some really key veterans that we have on our squad that are really doing a good job of bringing those younger guys along. So it'll be a good experience for everybody. It'll be a good series. They won their conference last year, so it's a key matchup.
Certainly, Coach. And this time you're playing a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday game. We are looking forward to keeping up with you and your team this weekend as you be heading out to Orange, California, making a plane trip to LA and then making the drive to Orange to take on Chapman this weekend. All right, folks, we'll keep you up to speed with head coach Jared Hood and the baseball team. You'll know more next time on ETV's Coaches Show.